Hey, and welcome back to the With Jen podcast. Today, I'm joined by fellow Dutchie Jonathan, a systemic business coach who helps people understand how their family systems, childhood experiences, and survival patterns still shape the way that they live, love, and work today. We talk about inner child wounds, breaking generational cycles, asking for help, learning to receive love, and what happens when the hurt little version of you suddenly grabs the steering wheel in your adult relationships. It gets honest, practical, and occasionally slightly confronting, as all good conversations should basically. And as you listen, notice what keeps tugging at you. You don't have to fix your entire life today. Just choose one pattern you're ready to become more curious about. And if these are the kinds of conversations you want more of, come join my Instagram broadcast channel. It's where we keep the conversation going between episodes, share little mindset shifts, and grow together. You can follow me on Instagram by typing in at with Genevieve and find it on my profile page. Now, let's get into it. Oh my God, welcome everyone. I am here with my fellow Dutchie. I think this is the first time I have a fellow Dutch person on the English pod. I mean, the Dutch pod speaks for itself, of course, but this is the first time that I have a Dutchie on the English one, and I'm so excited about it because Jonathan and I, we've known each other for a couple of years now, I think. I, I, thi- we've met each other online during Corona, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
and it always feels like 2 years ago, but Corona is already like 5, 6 years ago. But
Oh my god. Well, anywho, please introduce yourself to my listeners who will absolutely love you and your presence because we're all about mental health and mindset. So, yeah, tell us, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing what you do as well? Because the why behind it always it tells us such big stories. So, take your stage.
well, thank you for being the first Dutchie. I will promise to deliver up to the standards of the other English speakers. Um, Welcome, everyone. My name is Jonathan. I'm a systemic business coach, and I focus mainly on mothers who are entrepreneurs. And a lot of things we do in our daily basis stems from our youth, and that's how I focus, and that's where most of my work comes from. And my biggest why is because I had a tough upbringing. I had been through a lot, moved a lot, had mentally unstable parents, divorce, a lot of mental things from both my parents. My father has manic depressions. My mother is her own difficult puzzle to understand. So that's where I came from. And because I've been through a lot in order to heal that, to be and become a healed person, an adult who can just stand here today and say, no, my past does not affect me as much as it did most of my life. And I started with breaking my own patterns and then finding out, saying, hey, you can live without pain. You can live without those effects from trauma, those effects from things you've been through in your life. And just from passion, trying to understand, like, why do people keep walking around with shit they don't need to walk around with?
Mhm.
And I started helping people just on my own. And then it grew to a bigger hobby and it grew to a business. And the more and more people I helped, the more I thought, this is what I'm supposed to do in my life. And um, in the end, I focused on the family system because I think it's really important to break the cycle, like I said, like
Mhm.
being a parent, doing it in another way for your children. And especially when you did not do the work of healing and you get, to be a family and you get um, children, it's hard sometimes to know before you have children that you're dealing with stuff. But then you have a child and then it's screaming and then like, oh, wait a second. Those things I grew up with do have influence on me. I never knew it until now I have children. And that's why I really focus on parents and especially on mothers, because it's such an influence you have on your children. And it's never the child that's triggering, it's always the parents that gets triggered. And that's why I focus on, and on a deeper level, as a child, I could not help my single mother who was raising three children. Um, but now I can help every other mother. And um, the way I always say, little Jonathan is doing a happy dance every time I can help another mother, because I
Yeah.
know how important it is to be a parent who can stay present with their own feelings, stay present with their own difficult emotions, and not let that affect you the way you're parenting. And that's what I live for 24/7. I have a young daughter who's 2.5 years old, trying to be a present father, trying to be a present parent, which I was never learned. And no one taught me how to be a present father, but that's what I do on a daily basis. How to break a cycle, how to stay in the moment while your internal system is doing all kind of crazy stuff. Your mind is doing all kind of crazy stuff, and it's most of the time coming from how do I handle all those difficult emotions. And if you peel off all the layers, you mostly always come back to what example have my parents given to me, the people who raised me gave me. What? How can I stay present? How do I deal with overwhelm? How do I deal with stress? How do I deal with all types of emotions?
Yeah.
Where do you learn that from? Where do you learn all those emotions from? As a child, you learn that from your parents and the people who raise you. And if you peel off all the layers, then you come back to who you're meant to be, and all those masks you were taught by your parents, all the way you thought you should be as a parent, is mostly unlearning and trying to be mostly yourself and trying to deal with the emotions the way you want to, instead of all the wrong ways to deal with it, or the ways you as a child who had to deal with difficult things find a way as a survival mechanism to deal with them. And as a child, it helps you to deal with your rough upbringing, to deal with difficult emotions. But now, when
Yeah.
you're an adult, those same things that help you as a child won't help you as an adult.
Yeah.
Keep you away from your dreams, keep you away from loving yourself, keep you away from healthy, strong relationships and connecting with yourself or other people. And that's why this work is really important. And that's how I help people, first starting with my own journey, doing it 24/7 now as a father, and also helping other people to come back towards themselves, to who they truly are, without all those layers, and bring them back to the person who thinks they are worthy of love, the person who thinks they can love themselves or love others, and just in a healthy, normal way.
Yeah, exactly. And in order to get there, you need to know the systems of your family. So there's the systemic
Yes.
family therapy that you can go through, and then also your own patterns. And I don't know if you have like the knowledge about this, but I remember with my therapist, and we were talking about like the whole family system, and I had to lay out the whole family with like all these little dolls, and I had to draw on them, and I had to make sure that I knew where all the intergenerational trauma came from in order to understand my own patterns. And have you done something like that?
Yeah, I did it for myself, and that's how I also help most of my clients. And with this work, it's always first has to start with yourself, because most of the things that influence you in a bad way is because you're not conscious enough of those things. What's going on in your body? What's going on in your mind? How do you react to things? So the
Yeah.
first step before you look at your family is, am I aware of what's going on inside of me? Because it's easier if you understand yourself and then look further from, okay, now I understand myself, then I can separate my family system with how I deal with things. So this is how my mother, this is how my grandmother, this is how my great grandmother dealt with things. And now I
Mhm.
can see the whole line, like, Oh, now I can see it. Now all the dots connect of my family system, but it always starts with you knowing that you are influenced by those things, you knowing that you are doing some of those things that's been in your family system for sometimes generations. Generational trauma is a real thing, but
Yeah.
better to not start with your great grandma, but start with yourself and then work towards your great grandma. And then it will help you with your process better than if you do it the other way around.
Yeah, no, definitely. I do think that you need to have like some self awareness about yourself and your own patterns in order to be able to understand what is actually happening for the rest as well. And maybe it would be good if, let's say, for instance, for our listeners right now, if you and I both would give them a for instance, saying like, what is a pattern that you broke and how did you break it? And what is a pattern that I broke and how did I break it? Because maybe then they'll get the sense of like, ooh, oh, wait, hold on. This is also something that I can work on. So it's a bit more practical for them because I know that for some people, this could be a little bit vague, but because you and I, we're doing the deep work on a daily basis and we do want to influence these people well, and we also want them to go find you as well. Maybe it would be good to give them a pattern that you and I both broke. So, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Starting with the survival mechanism, I grew up with, and I always love to give a backstory because
Mm-hmm.
patterns don't start just like that. They start as a reaction to an extreme situation you couldn't deal with. It could be as an adult, you couldn't accept what happened. It could be like instant trauma, like a car accident or something terrible like a robbery or rape or anything. It's like you processing reality and dealing with reality must have been so hard that a process came in the way. So then a negative pattern started. For me, my mother was a single mother, working hard, couldn't be present, couldn't be there always for me. So as a survival mechanism, I knew like, oh, I tried, you couldn't be there. I tried again as a child always did, you couldn't be there. So as a survival mechanism, like every day living with the disappointment of your mother not being there is way harder than creating a survival mechanism, which for me was I have to do it on my own. I had it
Mm-hmm.
ingrained in me. So if you can do it on your own, I don't need my mother. I don't need any help. So for me, it was you can do it on your own was something I decided, but I did not do it consciously. I did it as a child to protect myself, not knowing I did that. I didn't even know I was living that life until I was 8 years ago at a seminar. I just started my business a few months ago and I was overwhelmed by everything. I'm a business owner now. I want to make money, and now I have to learn everything. And I just want to coach people, and I have to make social media and a website and doing funnels. And I was so completely overwhelmed, but my operating system is I have to do it all by my own. But I couldn't find the time. I didn't have the business knowledge. I didn't know how to do everything. And I was in completely overwhelmed mode um, in that moment. So on the seminar, I was reflecting in an exercise. I had a 3-day business seminar with personal development ingrained in it. And I was sitting there and after 20 minutes, layering it, I wrote down, I do not ask for help. I do not ask for help. And it was my first realization. I've been living with this. And for months, I tried to grab it. I tried to reflect on myself, but I couldn't get it. So it was a process for a few months, not just that seminar. It was me being overwhelmed, couldn't find out how, felt an uneasy feeling like there's something going on which I cannot escape from. And then I wrote it down and it felt so true that I cried so loud that the person that was on the stage came towards me in a crowd of 300 people, right? And I just instantly, this is it. This is it. It was a relief. It was an aha moment. It was something didn't know I was carrying with me for 33 years. So I came home to my girlfriend, now a wife and mother of my child, and I said, "This is the thing that's holding me back." And I knew it was late at night, and that night I decided I'm gonna ask for help. I was the person who, like, literally always did everything by myself. I had a broken foot. I had crutches. I walked my heavy ass garbage bag container towards the streets. I drove home with a broken foot. I was the person who, I don't care how tough it is. I'm going to do it by myself. And that's helpful. I was in the army. It's helpful when I'm carrying a 50 kilograms backpack and had to walk for 20 more miles. No one's going to save me. And I'm not looking for someone to save me because I'm going to do it by myself. But it's not helpful in a world where relationships get stronger by asking for help, by reaching out, by opening up to people. I was closed off because I didn't want to let people come inside. That's my protection. Like
Yeah.
doing it by yourself is I don't need relationship. I don't need anyone. I'm gonna do it by myself. I don't need to accept love. I can do it by myself, however hard it is. So that week I decided I'm gonna ask for help 3 times a week and then later 3 times a day. Um, and I'm rigorous about when I make a decision like that. There's a non-negotiable. So I just asked for help, and mm, it felt like a punch in my stomach. It felt so weird, like the most simple things you've ever look up. If I think about those things I asked for help with, I can do it easy now. But that moment, my body, everything inside of me said, "Don't do this. Why are you asking for help?" And my voice, but I decided already, 100%, I'm not going to listen to it. And in
Yeah.
a short while, I felt more easy with the unease of asking help. And then now, 8 years later, one of the first thing, if I feel I want to do it, I need to do it by my own. I always communicate with my wife. I always, and now sometimes social media. I even use social media as a thing that helped me because if I share, that already means I broke the pattern because I didn't share. I didn't
Yeah.
talk about it. I didn't
Yeah.
say to other people what I was dealing with because I always do it with myself. So repeat the pattern today or it will be the same tomorrow. So if I feel it, I instantly try to break it. And then sometimes it still feels uneasy,
Hmm.
but now I lean in the uneasy. And the way I always talk with when you work on yourself, the first primary reaction may be, I don't want to ask for help, but try to get a secondary reaction. Like, how can you react towards that? And the more conscious you are, the more the work you do, is the time in between the first pattern and the second pattern will be shorter. So, like sometimes
Exactly.
I still feel that deep survival packet, a mechanism of you need to do it by yourself. It used to take me weeks. Now it will take me seconds or minutes, but never a day. So the time in between those patterns are shorter and shorter and shorter. And that's just
Mm.
doing the work, feeling the unease and then going in towards the uneasiness and then create your own safety because knowing that this is not the way you're going to deal with this problem. There's a healthier way which you don't self-destruct on. You don't feel worse on. You don't feel all the shame, the guilt. You don't feel all the pain or the uneasiness. And then that's how I did it. And then 8 years later, yeah, my reaction time between I need to do it on my own and asking for help is way shorter. And sometimes my second pattern is first. And that's what you really, really want. The healthy pattern to
Yeah.
be there the first after you feel the unease. And yeah, I'm happy I can say that sometimes I can even ask for help quicker than my wife. So I'm like, who am I? Like, who am I? And it
Yeah.
just feels good in a good way. Who am I?
Yeah.
In a good way. Like the transformation is complete, and it's good to, yeah, not have to live with dealing it on your own. Like most of my years, I'm almost 40 now. Most of my life, I did it that way. But like I said at the beginning of my introduction, you don't have to deal and live with things. Um, you don't have to carry them with you towards the future.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I recognize that. I mean, indeed, the doing it alone. And I think for me and my inner wound, it really was I'm not worthy of love. You know, a lot of people
Mm.
have indeed the I'm doing it alone one, and I had the I'm not worthy of love because my dad was well, we think a narcissist, but he walked out on us, so whatever. And because of that, you really get a push and pull dynamic in the household, and you feel like you always have to prove yourself. And because you're always proving yourself, you kind of get the feeling that you're not worthy of something. And now, obviously, after years of inner work and after calming down my inner child, the little Jen who's in there and who's like, "Yeah, but I really want to," you know, I now realize, oh, but I am worthy of love. So also worthy of chances, worthy of all the other stuff. But I think for at least 25 years, the 25 first years of my life, I didn't believe I was worthy of it. I thought I was worthy of chaos. I thought I was worthy of being screamed at. I thought I was worthy of being abused or whatever, because that was my life when I was a kid. So my mechanism, my coping mechanism was really, well, I have to shelter myself and not expect anything from anyone. And as long as I do that, I will be safe. But as you get older and you get your own house, you get your own partners, you get your own job and everything, and you carry that within your job and your relationships and your friendships and your own family system, it really hurts everyone a lot. And as soon as I saw that it started hurting my friendships and my relationships and all the other things with family that I actually did love, I was like, wait, maybe we should work on this because this is hurting not just me, but it's hurting the whole system around me. And by actually working on yourself, your whole system profits from it. Everyone gets happier, everyone gets more fresh air into their, mental lungs, I would say. Everyone gets to be a better version of themselves. So, and I really didn't want to take that any further into my business as well because it also blocked how I did business. I was like, oh, I'm not worthy of anything. And I'm just gonna prep myself for being alone for the rest of my life. So clients didn't want to work with me. People didn't want to have hangouts or meetings or whatever. And that really proved to me that I really had to put the brakes on the inner child and tell her, you know what, you little girl, you are worthy of love, and I'm gonna give you a hell of a lot of it. You're gonna get all the fucking love in the world, you child. And I remember it was in April, and I went to a concert. And for our Dutchies listening, I went to Kadri. And, as my inner child really wanted to go there, I remember being a kid and actually saying, "Oh, mom, dad, I really want to go see that girl group," because I was a huge fan when, they were from our generation. We were kids back then. And I remember at some point I was at the concert and a couple of days before, I said, "Well, you're worthy of this, and you should go enjoy it. You should have that rosé, have that burger, and go hang out with your girlfriends. Go do that." And I remember seeing that, and I remember being there, and I saw the little version of myself. And I don't know if this happened to you. I mean, you said you were crying like a lot, but this happened. I don't think it's right after my healing arc because I'm still, we're all healing forever. But I had like this euphoric moment where I saw that child and I was bawling my eyes out. I was crying so loudly at the concert. And I saw my two best friends who also had a very tough childhood. And the three of us, we were just crying. We were just it was such an amazing experience to see that little child, the little kid within me, finally accepting all the love and taking up space in grace, knowing that she deserves it. So I think, our words to the people listening today are go get your pattern, go at least see what it is and see what that inner child of yours, what it was asking for or what it was protecting itself from, because it can be either or, and work with that. Work with that for yourself so you finally get the chance to be a bit more happy. So I think that was really my unmasking.
I think for everyone listening right now, I think it's something everyone could do more. So for everyone listening right now, I've got an assignment.
Oh, let's go.
Whatever makes your inner child happy, find something this week to do. Um, Go to like a secondhand store and buy something you would always wanted as a child. Grab that pizza and then go to that kid movie, or do something you as a child wanted but couldn't, and then keep that inner child happy. And please, please tag us in it, because we would love to
Yes.
see you like keeping your inner child happy, because it's such a thing that's healing, but something we as an adult, because all the responsibilities and that weighs on our shoulders, joy is such an important thing. The older you get, the more you need to experience those joy. And children know, I've got a 2.5 years old. Children know what joy means. They are so joy is in our nature. But because of everything we've been through, because of responsibility and stress and money stress and everything that takes us away from the moment, takes away from our joy itself. And the simple thing to bring us back there is trying to keep our inner child happy. Do something that makes that joy come out of you. And there's nothing more joyous and you being more giddy, being more happy, being more energetic is than when you're focusing on your inner child. So we got a mattress we want to throw away because we're cleaning up our house because we're going to move. And then my daughter loves jumping. So now we got an old mattress in our living room.
Yeah.
And yesterday was my day with my daughter, and I would just jumped a lot with her, and it just had fun. And yesterday I was playing with the sand with her. And the more I'm in the moment, the more I'm just let myself play and not try to, I need to be the adult, but just play. And then that
Yeah.
in the moment happiness would come out. So for everyone listening right now, find something that your inner child craves. Last time I found an Instagram reel that people I grew up for as well. And then he opened up the fridge and it's like, this is something I missed as a child. And then he had a fridge full with all types of food and all kind of things. And it's like, this is what keeps my inner child happy. I used to want that every time when I went to friends. I wanted that. I was like, oh, at home we don't. At now he opened up the fridge and the whole fridge is full with things. Buy those things. Buy that super things. Um, I'm gonna buy in. I already know what I'm gonna do as an
Well, tell me,
assignment,
tell me, tell me.
because I last time I didn't buy it, but I'm gonna buy it next week. We go to a secondhand store because my daughter loved it. There's a racetrack. There's a small racetrack where you can this is like an 1890 racetrack with a line in the middle with one simple remote, and then the cars goes around it. I've
Yes.
seen it a few times. My inner child has seen it a few times at the secondhand store, but I was like, yeah, my daughter's too young, so you cannot play with it. Now I'm not going to use it as an excuse. This is what I'm going to buy at the secondhand store next week, um, just to keep my inner child happy. So I already know how I'm gonna keep my inner child happy. We love to hear from you guys. Tag us.
Yes.
For me, it's tag freedom underscore motivates, and your handle.
Well, with Genevieve, it's really easy. So you got to tag Freedom Motivates on Insta and with Genevieve and tag us what you've done. I think for me, I think I'm gonna start right after our recording. I'm gonna buy myself a damn ice cream. I'm gonna walk to McDonald's and I'm gonna get myself my damn McFlurry because
This,
when
this,
yeah, I'm just like
and
yeah, that's
everyone who cannot see it, I see your eyes light up, and that's why we need collective healing. Let's make this episode
yes,
more than just, oh, I'm working on myself. I feel better now. No, let's start with collective healing, and inner child
yeah.
work is one of the most important things, and that's why it's so amazing to do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But there's also moments, I don't know about you, but I also have these moments sometimes that my inner child starts taking over because, of course, we're still carrying those wounds with us, even though they're a lot smaller. I mean, you've been through a lot of help. I've been through a lot of help. You're helping people now. I'm helping people now. But still, sometimes, oh my God, I get those wounds. And for me, especially, it's from partners. And whenever
Mhm.
I feel like they have a doubt, well, not whenever anymore, but still sometimes, like 1 out of 20 times, whenever they have a doubt or whatever about me, I feel like I'm indeed not worthy of love again. And I can feel like the little kid grabbing over the steering wheel and saying, I'm not worth, I should walk away. And she's like crying and bawling her eyes out again. And I'm like, dude, calm down. I'm loving you so fucking much. Why do you think? How dare you tell yourself that you're not worthy of that anymore? And then she calms down. But for me, it's definitely with partners. Whenever your inner child takes over the steering wheel, how do you feel that and how do you deal with it?
Um, Great example. I think 1 in 20 is a really good one for me as well. Um, um, it surprises you. So, but you have to be conscious enough that you know that it surprises you. So it's really hard to grab it if you're not conscious of it, if you're not knowing that you're reacting from those wounds, because most of the people who are not conscious enough think that just the way they are. They always focus on that's because someone triggered it in me, but it is never the other person. If you're centered, you can deal with a lot more than trying to create blame towards the other party because they are doing like this, because they are saying like this, because no, because you are carrying wounds and you cannot be the emotional mature adult in this moment. For me, it's most of the time also with my partners, the people that love you the most. That's why doing this work, it's it's easy to do this work, like I always say, to sit on a pillow and say, like, I'm healed. But you can always test when you're healed in correlation with relationship, and especially with a romantic relationships. That's the most triggering because you trigger those parts in yourself and more. So yeah, everyone can dance by themselves in the living room and sit on the pillow and say I'm healed. And but the way to test that is to go out in the world, to go meet people, people who don't see you, people who are different, people even close to you in romantic relationship, they will trigger you, and then
Yeah.
you can see how far you are with the work. So, yeah, for me, it's being seen, and the hard part is when I don't feel seen, I react like a temper tantrum. You have to see me, and when I do that, I trigger my partner that feels not seen as well. So we have two children who are not emotional adults in that moment, who cannot see each other because we're talking from our wounds, we're talking from our child who, like I always use the example as well, who takes over your steering wheel and controls your life. And being conscious of, oh, wait, I'm not centered right now. My nervous system feels uneasy. I'm going up in tone and I'm not passionate right now. I'm fighting for more than just the regular stuff. And
Yeah.
then you know, like, oh, my nervous system wants more. And then you see, and I go to fight modes. But you can also go freeze. You can also go flights. But then you know, oh, but I'm not the centered, adult, emotional, mature person. I'm reacting in a way that I'm fighting. My nervous system is fighting for being seen. And some people like be quiet and then don't know what to say, don't know how to react, don't know how to express themselves, keep their boundaries. And other people run away, get out of the, like, you're not going to see me either way. I'm going to leave. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to not connect anymore because that's what you create. You lost the
Yeah.
connection with yourself. So most of the time, you lose the connection with the person you're speaking with. And that's why inner work is so important, because all those things is you're not truly connected towards yourself. You're connected to a fear-based self. You're a nervous system that's anxious. So of course you cannot connect in a healthy way. Of course, the person who's standing in front of you doesn't feel connected with you because you're not connected with yourself. There's a scared little
Mm.
boy there. There's a scared little girl there. There's a fear-based person who only speaks of fear and not connection. And that's really hard to connect. So being conscious of it. Oh, this is the one of the 20 moments. What do you do in that moment? So consciousness starts first, knowing that you're doing it, then try to know where your reaction goes towards. So are you fighting? Are you fleeing? Are you closing everything up? Are you freezing up? Know that of yourself. And then what do you need to do to connect with yourself again? What do you need to do to not put blame towards the other one? Because you're never going to get a healthy conversation if you're trying to win. In whatever case, connection is not about winning. Connection
Mm.
is about being seen and heard. And the most important stuff, and that's with every type of relationship, is being a centered person, because then you can use your emotions and your cognitive abilities. Every time your nervous system is a little bit stressed, you're not using your whole capacity as a person to connect with yourself and the other person. You're literally dumber. You're not using all your brain cells. You think you are, but you're just communicating from emotion. And the way to communicate is to be the centered person and to communicate your things well, maybe with emotion. That's okay. But when you're triggered, you cannot connect with the other person, and you cannot connect with yourself, and start with yourself. So whatever you need to do to connect with yourself, communicate the first line. I need 10 minutes. Then after that, maybe we can have that conversation. Um, I feel like I'm shutting off. I'm sorry, I'm screaming. I noticed that I'm screaming. I need a second. For me, it's I sit down, I lean back, I breathe, and I think about I want connection more than being seen. Because
Yeah.
if I'm trying to get my point across to be seen, I'm not looking for connection. I'm just doing it. It's all about me. But what I truly want is connection. And then in order to feel connected, then be seen. If I'm all about me and trying to get my point across, one of the lines I use and I work with couples as well is, do you want a healthy relationship or do you want to win? It's not about being right. It's about staying connected. And sometimes that means saying sorry, even if you don't mean it, but knowing that that's the way towards two adults trying to calm down, heal that connection with yourself, and like, okay, we don't have to fight all the fights in this moment. We have time.
Yeah.
We're staying together. We're going to talk later. We're going to talk tomorrow. That's going to be okay. We're going to talk Saturday, especially when you got young kids. You don't always got time to, you're tired. You want to go to bed. Maybe it's not the time to have this conversation right now.
Oh my,
Maybe
yeah,
now's
that's
the
so
time
true.
to start with connection. Maybe it's the time to connect with. But what I truly mean is, I really love you. Now is not the time to get my point across to communicate where I want you to treat me, but I just want to say I'm looking for connection. But without the connection with yourself, you only communicated from that wound. See me as a little girl, see me as a little boy. And if I doing it like that, when my little child is driving in a relationship, I will never feel connected with myself, and I will never feel connected with my partner. So you need to be that emotional adult and know how to get that emotional adult back,
Yeah.
because most of
To
the time
reparent,
when one
basically.
when, yeah, reparenting yourself, especially, but also most of the time when you trigger someone and you notice you're not talking to an emotional adult person, you're talking to a child wound, you're talking to a trauma wound. So imagine you're talking to a 5 year old, imagine you're talking to a 7, 8, 12 year old. You cannot have a normal conversation. So even if you want to, you'll not get your point across. So trying to be centered, and the more you're centered, the more you can center the other person as well, and then truly get what you want.
Mm.
And sometimes not in a moment, but find connection, and it starts with yourself, and that is really important. And then do the work in order to, again, shorten that time. Hey, my little kid is driving. And just like you said, the way you said it, I thought it was beautiful. You have to use that word more often. It's like oxygen for your mental health. I love the way you said it. It's like your lungs filled, your mental health lungs are filled, and then try to shorten
Yeah.
that time again and be present in that moment. And if your adult is driving, then you can have that connection. Then you can have that real conversation about boundaries, about love, about this is what you did to me, and then speak towards accountability towards the other person. Like,
Yeah.
I expect you to be accountable towards communicating this way. I expect you to be accountable. And it's really hard to be accountable
Oh
when
yeah.
you're reacting from a child,
Yeah.
because a child is just a child who just wants to do things the way they want.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've heard about this, but in relationships where people live in the same house, so not per se romantic, but also with a housemate or when you're adult and you care for your parents or in whatever relationship, apparently it's a good thing to have childhood photos across the space so that sometimes you can be reminded of like, hey, I was that vulnerable child once, and the person I'm living with was that as well. And then you get to be remembered of, who that person was and from what essence they can react. And I've seen that tip like a couple of weeks ago was before after we spoke, and I was like, shit, I should have noted it down or I should have seen it earlier, but it probably came across for a reason. And I really think that's also a beautiful thing that I now want to carry in my current relationship with me, even though we don't live together or anything. I know that sometimes she will react from her wounds and I will react from my wounds. And, if I can put the two kids together, I can be like, okay, hold on. They cannot be accountable for this behavior. Me, as a parent of that child right now. I have to reparent and I have to step in. And actually, I thought that was really something beautiful. Like, oh, carry a picture around or put it in your house of the child that it once was. What do you think about that?
I have a picture of my wife as a child in my
Oh
phone,
my God,
and I look at
really?
it more often. And then you can use it in your wallet. You can hang it in the mirror of the bathroom. I used it. I use and I also use it in my coaching, because it's really helpful. The important thing to say always, it's always starts with two people starting off taking accountability of their own healing. If that doesn't happen, it is really hard. Or otherwise, um, the way you um, handle accountability will be slanted in your relationship. Then one partner will do more, especially the partner who works a lot on themselves, and the partner who maybe does that less. That doesn't mean that partners who don't go to therapy cannot do the same. They do it in a different way, and they maybe don't have the therapy speak or the coaching speak in order to understand what they're doing. But a lot of people do the work without coaching or therapy, so that still can happen. Of course, I'm biased. I hope that a lot of people do this work because I think it helps. Um, but in this way, it always starts with two partners taking accountability over themselves, over their own healing. And that's the starting point. And then you can help the other person um, heal in those moments, because after that moment, they take accountability for themselves and for the way they will treat themselves or you later on. and that's the most important thing. There, the relationships are never 50-50. It can be 70-30, 80-20. Sometimes Sunday we were driving to my niece's birthday party. My wife's like, I got 50. And I'm like, oh, so I got 52. Okay, together we're hundreds. And then 10 minutes later, she said, okay, definitely I don't got 50. I say, okay, I got 60, 70, I hope today. Or else that's the way we're doing it. And then we forgive each other more for those little moments because we're honest. And then we're in that moment, we try to be the most kindest and empathetic person we can be.
Yeah.
And in those moments, you can heal your partner. But, and that's why I said it, it's also really important that both parties take accountability of their own emotions, or else your relationship will feel slanted. And then you will always be the pleaser, the carer, the helper, trying to help someone through it. Or then you will become the mother child relationship. And then or the father child relationship, and that's never healthy. Then the more one of the partners will become like the parent, and then the other partner will trigger the child, and then you got a relationship where the one is more the adult and the other one,
Yeah.
but it's sometimes even the fault of the parents who thinks they have to be the mother of the father, because in that way they never let the child grow up, and then you get patterns. It's always two people to tango. So you are part of the dynamic, and the most important thing is stepping out of the dynamic, being conscious of it, and know that you don't have to stay in the same dynamic in a relationship that is not healthy. And sometimes it only takes one partner who realize that and just step it out. Oh, I'm not your mother anymore. Sit on your hands. You know, for a lot of women, it's difficult in some relationships. They think, oh, then everything will go to shit. And I don't take, women love to take responsibility and are really good at it. Men
Yeah,
take
we
a
are.
longer time sometimes in a heterosexual relationship to do things, do it on their own time, do it in a different way, and just sit on your hands and see, oh, I'm not gonna die. Not everything will go to shit, but that unease feeling is part of you not being the mother in the relationship, but trying to um, have a partner who is, yeah, I'm searching for the words, um, equal to you. No, you're
Yeah.
both equal. You're both equal, and you want to speak the accountability in towards the partner, the the equality in the partner. You're not less than me. I will speak the greatest version in you, the heels version, the you can do it, the I'm not gonna hold you down, or I'm not better than you. And then, we're both here trying our best and trying to coexist, and even better than that, thrive together.
Exactly. And I think this goes for like any type of partnership, within family systems or even in business or whatever. For example, I have a business partner and we have a very healthy business relationship because we've both been working on ourselves. So that ensures that our business relationship right now is very healthy. I mean, of course, sometimes you slip back into the patterns, and that's okay as long as indeed you can catch yourself and you can say, hey, that was not such a great idea. Let me go back a little bit and try again. But you just have to tell each other, like, hey, this was my fault. I am so sorry. And let's fix it, or let me fix it and I'll let you do the reacting to your own responsibilities. But I want to be able to step forward in whatever type of relationship and to say, yeah, that went to shit. That was my own damn fault. And now we're going to try again. But a lot of people, when they fall back into those patterns, and I'm wondering if you see this too, especially in the beginning and in the middle of their healing arc, they kind of go, "Yeah, I fell back into my pattern. It went to shit and now I broke my streak, so now I'm fucked." You see that a lot.
Yeah, the funny thing is sometimes it's not even the pattern that makes your life worse. It's our reaction to the pattern, the way you react to it. And the way I always say, and I literally had a conversation like this like 2 days ago, is you can have like those patterns like I'm not worthy of love, but out those patterns come different things. And then the way you react towards when you're feeling I'm not worthy of love. So maybe you will close off a little bit more, not speak out. Maybe you will shut yourself in and then stay inside for a week. The reaction towards those patterns can sometimes feel worse. And just like you can feel those emotions, but then feel shame again, and then shame yourself after that again, and then
Oh yeah.
say bad things towards yourself. And if you take out one of those things or those couple of reactions that makes it even worse, then you already feel better and then it's way easier. If you don't have shame, if you don't have like all those things, you judging yourself less, saying more positive things towards yourself, asking for help, going outside and staying inside for a week, all those little tiny things as a reaction towards feeling those first things. Or an underrated thing, apologizing. We, especially in the boomer generation, we were brought up. If you look at 2 generations ago, it's like strict parenting. You don't go in towards your parents. You respect their parents always. It's always about respect and not seeing the child. And then our parents, as a boomers, tried their best, but apologizing as a parents towards your child was a no go. So sometimes when we feel those wounds in a relationship, whatever relationship, we feel those stubborn things and we act like the parents that hurt us.
Yep.
And then we react the same. So an underrated thing is just apologize because we were never apologized towards. So what do we do? Instead of knowing that pain, we do the same thing. We repeat the pattern the way we were brought up. And then you see, oh, because my parent never apologized, why should I apologize? But that's just your wound talking. The underrated thing, and I still find it hard sometimes. I never had a parent who could even be conscious of being apologizing because they didn't even know they were doing it wrong. But just apologizing towards my wife, even if everything in my body screams, you need to see me, you need to listen to me, I want to be heard. And it's like, it's about connection. I'm sorry. Even if my whole nervous system, because no one ever taught me to apologize. Now, I apologize for everything with my daughter. I was just like, I'm sorry, Daddy did that. And a sentence I used today, I'm sorry, I respect your boundary. My 2.5 year old daughter, I speak English with my daughter, but I'm I'm sorry, I respect my boundaries. Sometimes I love her so much, I just still want to eat her. And then I tickle her, and then she's like, no, Daddy, I tickle her one more time. He's like, no, okay. I'm sorry. I respect your boundary. I see her
Yeah.
as a person whose emotions are real, and I see her as she is. No one ever taught me that. So, as an adult in relationship, my romantic relationship and other relationships, sometimes it's easier not to apologize. Stay stubborn. Like you hurt me and then react from the hurt. Oh, I'm never going to speak to you again. I'm never going to talk to you. Some people, okay, I understand. You don't need them in your life. But
Hmm.
if you know this person, if you still want to have a strong and healthy relationship, apologize is an underrated thing just because of those family systems, just because we never taught to apologize through difficult emotions. Because our parents had difficult emotion but couldn't say apologize because they were raised like a parents. And then you see the cycle continues and continues and
Yes.
continues.
Yeah. So it's up to you to stop it. And you are not your pattern. That's not who you are. And you're allowed to do this. I think that's also a big part of this episode, just telling people that they're allowed to do it.
Right.
Because
And I'm a struggling person. And if and I'm struggling, that doesn't mean I have to feel shame about myself. But it doesn't also not mean that if a struggling person doesn't cannot let people close, struggling, being imperfect, having those things, especially those things, because our survival mechanism comes from a place. Most people say, I'm not worthy of love in this moment. You can always feel good about yourself and feel like I deserve love, but in those darkest moments, you always feel like you don't deserve love to give towards yourself, or you think you are not worthy of love from others. But in those difficult moments where your parents taught you shame, where you had that inner voice that learns to deal with all those difficult emotions, thought, I'm never worthy of love. And then you create all those voices. And in those moments, you have to relearn to love yourself or to accept love, even though everything in your body screams, I'm not worthy of anything right now, towards yourself or to accept from others. And in those moments, if you try to learn that, it's like, I'm always worthy of love.
Yes.
If I cannot do anything for myself or for other people, and that's so hard in a conditioned, biased way we were brought up. We were brought up to be loved under condition, but never unconditionally. I will love you and accept you for who you are, whatever is going on. But we were not brought up that way. This society is not taught that you are worthy of love. No, you have to be a certain person. You have to earn so much money. You have to be this pretty. You have to have these type of job. You have to have like these type of grades in school. You have to be worthy of anything because only then people will accept you. Only then people will see, wow, you did a good job. But most of the things are like just little boys and girls who are waiting until mommy and daddy rub over their head and say, I'm proud of you. But you don't have to have that feeling. You don't need to get to that level in order to feel loved. You don't need to create all those things in your life in order to feel lost. You can just sit here in this moment right now, listen to this podcast, and just say, I deserve love. However good I'm feeling, or however bad I'm feeling, or shitty, or even worse than that, I'm depressed or shitty, you still deserve love.
Yeah.
Or if you're happy and smiling and think, let's destroy the day, then it's easy to feel love. But those moments, then you're dark and then you're using shameful language, and then who will love me? It's just your inner child saying, because my parents or the person that raised me taught me that in those moments they weren't there. In those moments I wasn't safe. So that means that every time I feel those moments in my life as an adult, I am not worthy of love. Yes, you're worthy
Yeah.
of love if you're overwhelmed. Yes, you're worthy of love if you cannot do it. Yes, you're worthy of love if you fail. Yes, you're worthy of love if you feel shame. Whatever you're feeling, the first step is accepting that you are worthy of love without using the
Yeah.
shameful language. You can still feel I need to do everything by myself. You can still feel all those things. Still better to go outside. It's still better to break those things, even if they are secondary patterns. Even if you don't mean it, it's still better. And then just keep doing the work. And eventually your secondary reaction will feel like the first. And then there comes a moment. I used to, I sucked my thumb for a long time. So I had crooked teeth. It's just self soothing in another way. So I learned to soothe myself because if you have to do everything by yourself, you have to
You do that as
create
well.
other
Yes. No,
things.
definitely.
So, so I had crooked teeth, and for a long time I had a really hard time just smiling. So for a year, every day in the mirror, I said three things about myself that I loved. First half year, I didn't feel anything. I just thought it was bullshit. But there were a few moments. This is love. This is self love. I didn't know the feeling. I had to teach myself because my parents didn't teach me how to love myself. I had to reparent myself and teach myself how to love myself, to look at myself and then say, but even with a crooked smile, you can love yourself. And
Oh yeah.
you never will
Takes a
feel this.
while. It really takes a while.
But keep doing the work.
Yeah.
Eventually you will feel something. I'm glad I felt something. I'm glad I stuck with it and not believed all those stupid things that came in my mind, not believed those secondary reactions from I'm not worthy of anything. No, I am worthy to tell this towards myself. I do not have to wait until someone acknowledge me. I can acknowledge myself. And then most people live from outside towards inside, but you can feel a love towards yourself, and that's where the work starts. There is a center which that's sacred that I can carry with me, and that's love, that's self-love. And then
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens in the world, you can carry that wherever you go. You can carry that love and that safety wherever you go. The most important things I do with my clients is, am I, can I feel safety with me? And can I feel love towards myself? And
Yeah.
that makes you so indestructible in this world, especially in today's society where everything is superficial and everything is, what do you think of me?
Oh, yeah.
But if you always have a layer of acceptance towards yourself and love towards yourself, it's like, oh,
You know,
yeah,
if you carry that with yourself, others get to you less. You get to yourself more because you feel more centered, you feel more zen, and you can actually really do things out of love and not out of like scarcity or panic or whatever. And others can get to you less. You know, if you start giving less fucks, you shouldn't give zero fucks about whatever you're doing. But if you can start giving less fucks about like these things and about superficiality already, life becomes so much better and so much more chill. That's a great ingredient for a very nice life. I mean, you will not forever be in peace and you will be triggered sometimes and we'll drive ourselves nuts. I mean, I drive myself nuts the whole time, but in a more zen way, I would say.
yeah. I'm laughing in recognition.
It's amazing. I love it. But on the other hand, I'm like, I don't care what people say about me or my business or my podcast or whatever because I did this. I built this up and I'm building this with amazing people like you, Jonathan. And I'm so proud of that. I'm so happy that we get to talk about this thing of like mindset and mental health and all the literature about it and about the real questions that we have to ask ourselves because even when we go through therapy and even when we do all this tough inner work, we're not going deep enough. So I do think that this was quite deep, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, my inner child, she's so happy for the both of us right now. I feel like she's doing a little dance with yours, and they're like, "Yes, you guys did it.
Yeah.
You rock."
Because most of the time, it's that shameful inner child would couldn't be free. And then when you can accept yourself and love yourself, you can go towards the world as a free person. And
Yeah,
it's like, here I am. A kid is always, here I am. And a kid is
yeah,
never like, what do they think of me? No, just ac- accept the way you are with all your quirks. And that doesn't make you less than, that just makes you you. And then
yeah,
just be unapologetically you. That's why my coaching is called unapologetically, because that's it. You are who you are. In this moment, you can deal with things, like I always say towards my clients. You can always strive for a level, but in this moment, this is who you are. So in this moment, when I'm triggered, and that 1 in 20 off, when I'm arguing with my wife, I'm like, okay, but this is now who I am. I could feel shame. I could say, I'm a coach. I do this work and create shameful language toward myself. I could say, oh, I'm not going to use it as an example on the podcast because people would think with me, like, you do this work, you help people. How dare you are not the perfect coach who can do everything perfectly and do not deal with this stuff. It's freaking bullshit. We all have
yeah,
our own wounds and invisible suitcase, where they call it in literature. That even this, I can even shame myself because I couldn't use the word. But why? Why
nobody
all that
cares.
shame?
You
And
shouldn't
then
care.
this. So in this moment, this is where you are. With all the things you're still working on, with all the things you're shameful about, with all the things you're not there yet, completely radical acceptance for you in this moment. So if
Hmm.
you're working towards yourself with those deep, dark feelings, you can never create a, a healthy way to coexist, because even though we don't want those things, of course I don't want it. Of course I don't want to deal with, oh, I want to be seen, but I have in that moment need to deal with it.
Yeah.
whatever shame I'm feeling. So instead of shame, I'm like, I'm working with it. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm accepting and trying to find a way to like, oh, you're still here. You're not my enemy. You're someone I need to work with, because there's no way you can go towards the future when you're shaming yourself, when you're judging yourself with those things. Fighting with reality, you will always lose. So your reality sometimes is, I have to deal with things I don't have time with. I have feelings I don't have time with. I don't want these things. So you have them. It's like, oh, if someone, if you sleep and I will cut off your leg, you wake up tomorrow with one leg. You can keep fighting. You don't have a leg, but you have to deal with your life without a leg. And it is easy to see, for everyone to see you don't have a leg. I understand that. But it's the same way. You have to deal with the things that come across your path, mentally, physically, whatever.
Yeah.
Struggling person, a difficult relative, a narcissistic father, whatever it is what it is. You cannot fight with reality. It doesn't mean you have to accept it and then, like, oh, this is the way I am. No, it's like, this is the way I'm dealing with right now. Still accountable for your healing,
Yeah. Exactly.
because the wrong way of looking at it is like, oh, this the way I am, and this. No,
Mm-mm.
are you living up to the potential person you can be? And then, if you're honest, like, maybe not. Okay, then it's not who you are. Then you can accept it, but not accept it towards the future for the next 10 years. Accept it in the moment and work with it. But love yourself enough that you know you need to create some distance between you and that unhealthy pattern, be you, that unhealthy way you deal with things. So, yeah, love it, love yourself, accept it, but with a side note,
Yeah.
face the
Exactly.
real truth and then trying to not hide from it.
Yeah. Oh, God, I really, I do hope that the people listening right now, they're like, Jesus Christ, Jonathan, Jen. Okay, let's choose for better because
Mm,
I deserve it. And hey, there
mm,
is an inner child who's sometimes taking the steering wheel because we all have that. A lot of people say, "No, that's not true. I'm an adult." And,
mm-hmm.
I'm 32 as of time of recording, but this 32-year-old sometimes has a little 6-year-old Jen who's like screaming at her. It's okay. We all have that. But, before I go and run off and get my ice cream and before you get your remote car, is there anything else that you want to share this audience that you want to leave them with? Is there anything that you're like, well, they should really know this?
If you are a podcast listener like me, and if something resonates with you today, for real resonates, not do not let this be just a podcast. Besides the inner child exercise we gave you, find one thing you try to change. I know we said a lot of things about relationships, about accepting yourself. Find one thing and just do like I did. I saw my pattern. Maybe you felt it today. Maybe you resonated on a deeper level you haven't had in a long time. Don't let it go to waste. Create, and that's I'm really practical. I'm all about the deep stuff, but I'm also an ex-soldier. I'm also like the 100% guy who like, let's fucking go. Then now it's just starting. You're at the beginning of your race. Use it. Create a micro habit, because in the end we all fall back to our habits, and then try to take one of the golden nuggets we got and truly do it. There's no other way. Knowing the work is never the hardest part. Doing the work is always the hardest part. So find something you heard today about accepting, about communicating, about feeling, about breathing, about going outside, whatever it is, you know what it is. Try to think about it, or send me or Jonas Weave a message like, oh, I'm dealing with it. I'm finding hard to to find the micro habits, you're always welcome because it's something I do 24/7. I think, how can you transform and then find one thing and please love yourself enough just to do it rigorously because those small things are the path towards the person you want to become, towards an unhealthy pattern being broken through with a healthy pattern. And I deserve, in you and all the everyone listening deserve to have a healthy way of dealing with themselves or dealing with the world. Because it feels a lot chiller and happier and freeing to deal with healthy way, to deal with your emotions in a way, because most of the times you already feel bad when those things come up. You always feel not like the best version. Let's not make it worse by creating an even worse way to deal with it when it comes up, and
Oh, amen.
starts creating with a healthy, positive micro habits. And
Yeah.
maybe you think, and that's the second part of it, maybe you think it's not enough. So it's better than nothing. Fall off the horse, get up again tomorrow, but choose that one thing. Put that picture of your child self on the mirror. Write that one thing you want to do. Just keep doing it. It's the start of a new path, and you deserve that path.
Amen. Wow. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for guesting today. This was enlightening, and it's also really fun to hear another person who shares the same opinions and who has gone through the same type of work. We do it differently, but there's a lot of things that align with each other. So, really, thank you for showing up and for being here. And for listeners, yeah, indeed, showing up is always the hardest thing. And once you get the wheelbarrow going, it's gonna go, you know? So, yeah. And once again, you guys can find Jonathan on at Freedom Motivates on Instagram, right? Or are there any other socials that they can follow you on as well?
I'm Freedom Motivate on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And if you want to go on LinkedIn, more professional basis, Jonathan Bouter, Bouter. You can just follow me on LinkedIn as well. And I know that I'm just not a Dutchie. I can just level with you in English as well. But yeah, if you listen to the podcast, you know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonathan. This was a delight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. I mean, why would I not? Thank you so much. I hope this conversation gave you something to sit with, but more importantly, something small you can actually do. Maybe that means asking for help, apologizing, putting a childhood picture somewhere where you can actually see it, or doing one gloriously unnecessary thing that would make your inner child ridiculously happy. You can find Jonathan through Freedom Motivates on Instagram, and all of his details are in the show notes below. And if you enjoyed this conversation, come join my Instagram broadcast channel. It's a space where we keep learning together, share practical reflections between podcast episodes, and remind each other that growth doesn't have to happen alone. Follow me around on @withgenevieve, and you can join the broadcast channel from there. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, keep going, but a little bit softer. I care about you, babe.